You know, in the world of radiology coding, getting the little details right is, well, it's everything. And there's a pretty big change coming in 2026 for head and neck CTA studies. Honestly, it's the kind of thing that could trip up even the most experienced pros. So if you're involved in billing, coding, or radiology administration, this one's for you. Let's just dive right in.
First things first, let's start with the bedrock principle, and this comes straight from the American College of Radiology. The entire difference between a regular CT and a billable CTA boils down to just one thing: reconstruction post-processing. If that step isn't done, and just as importantly, isn't documented, it's simply not a CT. That concept right there is the key that unlocks everything we're about to go over.
So if post-processing is the big decider, what does that actually mean for billing and for staying compliant? You know, it's not as simple as just creating a few extra images. There are some really strict rules about how this work has to be done to count as a billable service.
And the biggest rule of all is something called concurrent supervision. Now, this is not a set it and forget it kind of deal. The radiologist can't just order a reconstruction and then, check the results later. They have to be actively involved, in real time, while the images are being created. Think of them like a movie director on set for a very specific, very technical scene. It's a totally hands-on requirement.
Let's break that down even further. Concurrent supervision means the radiologist is doing these three specific things. They're the one telling the technologist, hey, focus on these areas. They're making the clinical calls about which anatomical structures we need to see. And they are watching over the whole process as it happens. It's that level of deep involvement that justifies the service as a CTA. What's really great about this slide is how it draws such a clear line in the sand. Over on the left, you've got your billable 3D post-processing. That's the complex stuff that needs the direct supervision we were just talking about. But on the right, that's your routine 2D reconstructions, basic sagittal or coronal images. Those are just considered part of the package for any CT scan. They're not something you can report separately. And making that distinction is absolutely crucial for staying compliant.
Okay, so now that we've got that foundation laid, let's get to the main event, the major coding update hitting us in 2026. The CPT is introducing a brand new bundled code, and it's going to completely change how we report combined head and neck CTA studies when they're done in the same session.
And there it is, the one code that's going to replace the old way of doing things. You're going to want to get ready to update your systems, because the code you have to know is 70471.
Yep, 7471. This is now the only code you can use to report a CTA of both the head and neck when they're done together. It's specifically designed to bundle that whole service into one single, unique procedure.
So what does this mean for your actual day-to-day workflow? Well, it means that old habit of billing for these studies with two separate codes is officially done for come 2026. Let's take a look at exactly what that change looks like.
And this table just nails it. It's so straightforward. In the past, you probably would have reported the head code 70496 plus the neck code 70498 for a combined study. Starting in 2026, you report only one code, 70471. Using those two separate codes together is going to be a billing error, plain and simple.
And just to be crystal clear, this isn't a suggestion, it's a mandate. You have to use 7471 for a combined study. And look closely at what's rolled into this bundle. It's not just the head and neck scans, it's also the 3D post-processing. That means you can't report codes like 76377 separately anymore. It's an all-in-one package.
Okay, this is the question that always comes up with enhanced studies, right? If the procedure needs contrast, can you bill for it separately? And the answer is, well, it's a little nuanced.
Here's the deal. The contrast material itself, the actual physical supply, might be separately chargeable. But, and this is a big but, it completely depends on the rules of the specific third-party payer. You have to check their criteria. On the other hand, the service of injecting that material is always considered part of the main procedure. It's never separately billable.
All right, let's wrap all this up into a simple, practical guide. Something you can use to make the right coding choice every single time, without even thinking about it.
This is it. This is your cheat sheet for 2026. It really is this simple. Was the study for the head only? Boom, you use 70496. Was it for the neck only? That's 70498. But if it was for both the head and the neck and they were done during the same encounter, then you have to use the new code, 70471. That is the logic you need to apply from now on. So the big takeaway here is that CPT is definitely moving toward bundling services that are usually performed together, especially when they involve that advanced post-processing we talked about. The creation of 70471 is such a clear signal of this trend. And it kind of leaves us with a final question to chew on. As post-processing keeps defining that line between basic and advanced imaging, what other areas of radiology do you think might be next in line for these kinds of all-in-one bundled codes?